everybody, and welcome back to the Techichi podcast. This is one of our special episodes of Player Day that we've been doing for Halloween because it's spooky. Ooh. Tonight, we're talking about Ghoul School. Ghoul School, released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1992 and developed by Imagineering, published by Electro Brain, and designed by Gary Kitchen, which is apparently he was a well-known designer of these types of games at the time. So Ghoul School is a side-scrolling action-adventure game, and it's actually considered one of the early examples of a Metroidvania. So while taking the usual shortcut home from the cemetery from Ghoul School High, the senior Spike O'Hara found a strange glowing skull, puts it in his backpack, shows it to his anatomy teacher, which, by the way, his anatomy teacher is named Dr. Femur, of course, because bones and skulls. When Dr. Femur wanted to keep the skull to study it, Spike was concerned because it appeared that the skull grew bigger than it was the day before. Little did anyone know that the skull had begun transmitting its message to the realm of the dead. The ghouls had begun their assault. Ghosts, demons have taken over Ghoul School High. They've turned the teachers into football, or they've turned the teachers and the football team into demons. And to make matters worse, they have kidnapped Samantha Pom Pom. Samantha Pom Pom is the head cheerleader. So the player assumes the role of the senior at the school, Spike O'Hara, as he tries to defeat the ghouls and rescue Samantha. He has to explore over 200 rooms, which there are quite a few rooms in this game, and defeat a large number of enemies. There are items and weapons throughout the game that O'Hara can find to defeat the ghouls, though many of these items are well hidden, but it's interesting when you find different weapons and things like that. What did you think of Ghoul School?
It was interesting. Now I've learned something by what you just said. Gary Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the founders of Activision. I didn't remember that, and I didn't realize that he had actually worked. On I just happened to pull that up while you were speaking. But he made Donkey Kong for the Atari 2600. I did not know that. But Keystone Capers is probably the game I probably know him best from, which kind of explains the sense of humor in this game. Now, this game definitely had a sense of humor. There was no doubt about it. The first thing I thought when I was playing it, and it's your typical platform game. I mean, it reminded me, what is it, Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Goblins?
Yeah.
There's a game that it reminded me of, and that was probably the closest, except for this one to me was a little bit easier. It definitely was a challenge, but the very first scene is you feel like I jokingly say, geez, I'm poking someone's eye out. Because you got those eye monsters coming at you, and you're literally poking them right in the eye to kill them, which to me was kind of fun.
With a baseball bat.
With a baseball.
Your first weapon's a baseball bat.
Yeah. Is that what it was? I thought it was a giant piece of chalk.
No, it's a baseball bat.
Stick. It looked like a white stick.
Well, in NES colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I the sense of humor kind of carried through when they're snapping the wet towels.
That is when you get that wet towel. That's
when you get that wet towel. I mean, you're doing that, which I thought was really funny. I mean, you fought off a few enemies with that. I did find the game was kind of repetitive, which a lot of Nintendo games were. I mean, that's we're still in that era.
A lot of games in general.
Yeah, it was that era where games in general were that way. I mean, Mario kind of broke that, but it hadn't broken it yet. I mean, this game right here.
This was a late release though for the NES. It was 92.
Yeah,
you're pushing Super Nintendo.
You're right
here.
You're right. 92 versus
Well, it should have been better then.
But playing it, I agree with we chatted a little bit beforehand. I thought it was difficult. I did watch a walkthrough. The sense of humor in it. If you like platformers with a sense of humor and you don't rage quit, you might enjoy this game. I mean, again, I like the sense of humor. It kind of pulled me in a little bit, as opposed to some games you play them and they're like, huh. But I like the history. Like I said, I I didn't read the history. I just played the game. But Gary Kitchen, he this right here probably was one of the last titles he did. If I'd have to go look, but it's you didn't hear too much after him from that. Yeah, he did some stuff for the iOS. I'm seeing on here now that I pulled it up. But again, I would say I didn't hate it. If you can get it cheap or play it on an emulator, I would say it's a good game for that.
Yeah, I haven't even looked up. I haven't even looked up what its going price
Yeah,
is.
I didn't even look that up.
We'll
I
do it
never
on the.
heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I didn't really look at it until until recently when we decided to do this. So I'm looking. It goes for about $50 on eBay.
Oh, it's a more expensive game compared to some.
Yeah, I will say that I really like the artwork of the label, the promotional picture
The,
that they use. It's
yeah,
like
the
that
title
big,
screen. The title
yeah,
screen
the
of the
title
castle.
screen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that looked really impressive. And then you get in the game, and the game wasn't too bad. But
Well, it's the school. It's not even a castle. That's
well,
the
okay, yeah,
school.
I'm sorry, it's a school. You're right.
It did
Yeah,
look like a mental institution, actually.
a little
It
bit.
it,
Yeah,
it does.
but it kind of
Well,
rolls up. It kind of rolls up like all the '80s kind of like movie posters thing. It's got like the lightning up at the top of it, and it's got like some of like the eyes and the things creeping out the windows,
it's
and
like a Scooby Doo. It's like a Scooby Doo cover.
kind of yeah.
It does look a little bit like that. Yeah.
Well, what do you think, MC?
Um. I mean, here's the thing. I didn't play it a real long time because, well, I guess I played longer than I thought. But there's some things I didn't like. Like they had 1,000 lockers, okay, and you could open every one of them up, which I tried to open up about every one of them and hardly found like anything to help. Basically, I was stuck with that bat most of the time. Um, the monsters.
Piece
There
of
was one
rock.
that was pretty easy to kill. Can't remember which color it was, but there was the one that always seemed to be in the back of the thing, which just kind of like a head that jumped. It seemed to be extremely hard to kill. You thought
The
these were,
eyeball. It was that big eyeball.
yeah, that was extremely hard to kill. Whereas the other one wasn't too. It was pretty easy to kill. Um, you run down the hall, and there's usually a pair of steps that go up and a pair of steps that go down. I didn't even realize there was ones that went down in the beginning. so so I kept going up, but I found myself going over areas twice because I got confused because
Mm.
every hallway was like you go up or down or up or down. So I mean, I don't want to say the graphics were that bad; they were okay. Um, but coming to fight the monsters, I mean, I found like the easy one. All you had to do was run right into them real hard and just hit the button 3 times and kill it. And then the other one, it seemed super hard to kill, you know. So I don't know. It was okay game. I wouldn't pay very much for it. I would never pay $50 for it. If you want to buy it for $10 or something, that's fine. But I mean, I'd probably give it like maybe a 5 if you're out of 10. You know what I mean? As a rating, you know. So I mean, it wasn't bad. I just found it repetitive and boring after a while. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So one of the things that I noticed was that speaking of like the steps that go down, the steps that go up, is sometimes you'd go into like a different area and there'd be an enemy almost right at the side of your screen, and
yep,
it would hit, and you would run right into it. So when it hit you, it would throw you down
back
the
down the
steps,
steps. Yep.
and then you'd come back up, and it would throw you back down the steps, and you
Yep.
would continuously be
And
trying to go up and down the
you had to
steps.
try to jump over them sort of to get by them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like the only way, and that was one thing that was very annoying. That right there.
Yeah.
The other thing, I'd go into some rooms. You'd go into some classrooms. There'd be absolutely nothing in there. I mean, there'd be desks. You
Did
know,
you see the TVs at the end of the room?
I did. Was there something you had to do with that?
If you hit the TVs, it drops an apple that restores your health.
Oh no, I did do that. Okay, yes, because I got some apples. Okay, yes, that's true. I remember that
So
now.
that's basically the main reason for those rooms. Sometimes you can find a new weapon or something in those rooms. Like there's a
Yeah.
gun in the game that you can get, and a lot of that stuff comes from those rooms, of which there are 200 of. So like you said, you spend a lot of your time going in and out of these rooms, in the lockers, trying to find things, and then you don't know what's going on. So like you're
Yeah.
lost a little bit. You almost have to map this out like
Well, that's
on
what you
your
need a map.
own.
If they would have had a map for it, then it would have been all right. But you
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't know if I went in some of the rooms 2 or 3 times. It might have been the same room. You know.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what you spend a lot of time doing, unless you're just like brute forcing through the whole game.
which
well,
is
I
what
mean,
I
you
was
can go
doing.
so far one
Yeah,
way, then you got to go back and find somewhere down there. Then you can go another way. But so sometimes what floor am I on, and which direction should we go in? So
yeah. Why is this school so big?
well,
And you have
I'm okay with that. Just give me a map, show me where my progress is.
and you have 5 lives. Once you expend those 5 lives, it's game over, and you're back at the beginning. And it's considered one of the earliest forms of a Metroidvania game, which Metroid had already been out for the Nintendo. So one of those and Castlevania. So one of those This is like the first example of a Metroidvania style game that
That
had
makes
come
sense.
out. Um,
I mean, if they would have made like the rooms look different, and most of them look generally the same. You had the ones with like the TVs and the ones without, and you had the same ones with the ones. So they could have tried to make. I don't know. They could have had like a grade school room where they had letters on the wall, or I mean, some more variation would have been nice. So
yeah, and now I'm looking. There's actually I found a map of the.
seriously, I could have
I
used
found a
that.
map. I found a map online that shows you like all the rooms, the sub rooms where you can find things, where the bosses are, and things and stuff like that. I actually found the. So I normally like to try to play these and beat them. So like I spend a decent amount of time these. I did not finish this one, unfortunately. I'm just now looking at the end screen where you rescue Samantha, and Cool School High is no longer Ghoul School High because you have defeated all of the ghouls. Now the whole time, remember, the teachers have been possessed and taken over, so you're killing the teachers in this school.
So it's like the faculty.
So even though we win at the end, this school has no more faculty.
Well, most kids would probably like that.
School's out for summer. School's out forever.
Playing this as a
Because
kid, that's a bonus.
right, we killed all these teachers. They're dead.
Wow.
But I thought the music was pretty good.
Yeah,
Repetitive.
I think it repetitive, yes, but I think
yeah.
it fit
Well,
the
the game was
atmosphere of the
repetitive too.
game. Yeah, the game is repetitive. It doesn't offer you a whole lot. It's one of those late releases that come out for the Nintendo. I think there were some cool things. There was like some references. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was like some artwork on the walls, in the hallways, or mostly in the classrooms, where they were referencing like other movies. Like there's a piece of artwork that has like Dracula's castle from like the original Dracula movie, with Bela Lugosi. Was that the 20s or the 30s when that movie came out? So they make there's some references in there. There's a couple I thought cool boss battles, not really inspired boss battles, but I thought it was just cool to see some of the stuff. Like there's one where you walk into a room and there's a some kind of car or something, and there's like grease monkeys, like wrench monkey wrench, but they're monkeys, and you have to deal with them. And there's like this car that's in the school for some reason. I'm guessing shop class or like automotives
See,
or
see,
something.
I
I
didn't
don't
get
know.
that far. Maybe that would have changed my mind.
Yeah, like said that there's like the getting the towel is a cool addition as a weapon, because
Yeah,
you're snapping the towel, like in the locker room you get that towel and you can use it as a weapon. There's a gun, which the gun's actually, I thought the gun was next to almost useless, because some of the enemies, and this is a discrepancy, that some of the enemies are really overpowered and some of them you can just walk over
yeah,
like
that's
it's
what it
nothing. Like
seemed like.
It
some of
wasn't
them you can,
balanced. It wasn't balanced.
it's not.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
some of them you can one hit, and some of them you have to sit there and you have to hit them 30 times for them to get to go away. And then I found under a bleacher in the
What were you
hallway, or
doing
maybe,
under a bleacher?
well, I'll tell you. I found a dead body under the bleacher. There's just a dead body laying there. Well, it turns out if you go around the bleacher and come up and touch a dead body, it instantly kills you.
Even though the
The
body's
body's
already dead.
so that ain't very fair.
Well, like I just wanted to see what was going on. I thought maybe you press down, maybe it pops up like some kind of weapon or some power up or something. No, it kills you when you touch it. It takes one of your lives away. So
And you only have 5, so it really didn't
you
help.
only have 5, and you're
Yeah,
starting over. which means all 200 rooms that you're trying to randomly get through the different levels of the building. Overall though, I think it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
Again,
repetitive.
like we all said, we wouldn't pay $50 for it,
I
but I
think it's a
guess
I think it's a $10 game, $15 game, maybe.
I 10, 15 at the most. But I mean, if you can get the ROM for a reasonable price or something, then
Well,
obviously
definitely sure. Yeah.
check it out because it's that time of the season. So I guess the big question here about Ghoul School is thumbs up or thumbs down. MM's got thumbs up.
I'll give it a thumbs up because it wasn't awful. It was okay.
MC's got thumbs up, and you know what? I'm gonna give it a thumbs up too. We got 3 thumbs up. Is this our second game that we've all given
Well,
thumbs up
I mean,
for, or third?
if you like repetitive games, this is it. This is a good one for you.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if they could have somehow transitioned this into like a grander arcade game that maybe they could have had more to work with, because this could have been a great arcade game, because this could have been something like Splatterhouse.
Well, if they had more more different types of monsters, and some medium ones instead of either being too easy and too hard,
Yeah,
it
a
might have
little
been
bit
a
of
better
balance.
game.
A little bit of
So
balance.
what,
Maybe
what we really
Yeah.
need is Imagineering Nintendo. We need a remake
Yes. Yeah.
of this game.
Yeah.
All right, so we've all gone thumbs up on Ghoul School. Thumbs up, thumbs up on this spooky game here at Tekaji. Ooh. And as always, we thank you all for listening.
yes.
And like we here at Tekaji like to say,
Stay nerdy, my friend.
friends. That's cringe. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you later.